Hi, Panda here from Arctic Panda Popz, and welcome to Demo Reel, the show where we check out some different demos, give our opinions, what do we think about the demo itself, and did that demo make us want to play the full game. So in this episode of Demo Reel, we're checking out Ride, Bladestorm, and X-Morph Defence. These are all Xbox One demos, and if you want to look and hear our opinions on a particular demo, use the time code in the description below, and that'll jump you straight to that part of the video where we're checking out that demo. So let's check them out. Ride is a motorbike game for the Xbox One, so it's kind of like a motorbike version of Forza. In the demo, there's a quick mode, you can choose from 3 bikes, there's one location with 2 variations, but you can flick through and see what all the other tracks would look like, what their locations are. There's various difficulties and assists available in the demo, which I quite like. Now, there are some downsides. The load times are very long, and I'll show you a clip on screen of how long some of these load times are. Also, the game does have some frame rate issues. Now, it's hard to explain because I couldn't quite see it in the standard frame rate, but there was definitely some like jankiness. I don't know if it's jankiness to the animation, or occasionally it just looked a bit off. It's really hard to explain. But there's definitely was some screen tearing. It's ridiculously easy to fall off your bike. Like, this game isn't the easiest to control, but I know motorbikes aren't always the easiest for like track-based, road-based motorbikes. But I just felt like you could clip or hit anything slightly and you're like, whoa, off you go, you're flying off. What I did like, I think the biker and the rider models look quite good, but I think the graphics were off. It definitely had felt like high contrast, like there was definitely a strong difference between how dark some places were and how light were some places. It kind of just looked weird. The textures were poor. Yeah, it didn't look great. And I think the audio was a bit lacking now. I couldn't have the music on, otherwise we'd get DMCA'd, and I didn't want the video pulled. But even without music, I just thought the sound effects just felt not terrible, but just like it was like the bare minimum they could do for it to sound like a bike or something. I just don't know. It didn't engage me into the race. And yeah, and I just felt the racing felt a bit lackluster, and the location was a bit lackluster, and I just felt it felt dated. And I know it's an old game anyway, but sometimes you go back to some games and it still feels good, but this just felt like I couldn't see the fun. Like, I love retro games, but even with it being old, I couldn't see past how kind of boring it was. It was boring. I hate to say that about the game. Now, it might be for some people, like maybe someone who really likes motorbikes and motorbike games, but I think there's some definitely better choices out there. And overall, as a demo, it didn't really give a good impression. And that's what this show is about. It's about how well did the demo do. So I think this demo would definitely not make me want to play the full game. Bladestorm is an Xbox One game, and this demo was interesting. I think overall Bladestorm seems interesting. It's a warrior style game like Dynasty Warriors, with a little bit of a difference. So you have these large battles, you can kind of change what role you're playing, but you're still in command. Like, I've got the archers, we've got the horses. Now, from the demo, it was very hard to try and control like different units and that. They kind of just followed around and you like take over bases. And I like the idea of it, but not all of it played quite well, and we'll go into that now. So, to start off with, intro cutscene is very cool. It's very over the top, definitely has like this anime feel about these historical battles, which I was surprised these historical battles are based in Europe, because when I first started I was like, whoa, this is totally like Dynasty Warriors, Japanese feel, sort of like this anime take on these historical things. It's well over the top and some cool fights and battles, but nope, set in Europe, so that was an interesting surprise. There's lots of options available. You can only play the story mode in the demo, the 100-Year War. The in-game cutscenes, unfortunately, look bad and dated, and I think it's because it's one of these cases again where a game, the bigger you try and make a game and like the amount of enemies and characters on, you have to make a compromise. And the compromise in this case is the graphics. So the in-game cutscenes just don't look good. I'd compare it probably to like an Xbox 360 game, like a mid-tier Xbox 360 game. The voice acting is cringeworthy, but I kind of expect that from this type of game. Now, the character creation is really in-depth, like the amount of details you can go into to just create your main character that you run around as, I was surprised. They give you a choice of missions. You can seem to choose sides as well if you're on England or France's side, which I thought was an interesting take. So I'm guessing you're just like a hired mercenary. There's some in-between mission extras as well. You're like in this tavern and you can do and talk to different people. So I thought that was interesting. The graphics in the game is very dated. I think it's mainly the lighting. The lighting is just like really poor and there's a lot of jaggies. Like the game is full of bad lighting and jaggies. Now I don't know if it's just because the type of game, like I said, it's very big. Like even the map I played in the demo was huge and I only covered like a small bit of it. The animation doesn't look good, but that could be another case of like, hey, there's a lot of bad guys on screen. The map is awful to use. The on-screen map, or even pausing it, is just a chaotic mess. Now, I have played some Warrior games, just in case you're thinking, he hasn't played any Warrior games, so he doesn't know what it's all about. I played Hyrule Warriors, and I've played a bit of the Fire Emblem Warriors, and I've even played one of the Dynasty Warriors spin-offs, I can't remember which one. So I've got an idea of how it should feel and how it could feel. Now, I love Hyrule Warriors to pieces, like, that game is so much fun and so easy to figure out what's going on. That is a terrific game. So I was impressed how many AI were on screen in this game. It was actually quite cool from the scene. I really wanted to like it as well. And part of me did like it, but there's just too many other issues I'm going to explain. The UI is confusing. I couldn't tell. It's meant to show who's weak and strong against what class you're playing as, but you could barely see what the symbol was. Overall, it was just confusing. But it had potential. That's why I like this game. I feel like this had a little bit more time and polish. Could be something special. I think this game is ideal for someone who likes these large strategy battle games, but doesn't mind a bit of jank. It's not as fast paced as engaging as I just previously spoke about Hyrule Warriors. And overall, I would try the demo. If you're really into these strategy games and you're looking for a different one because you've already had your fill of, like, say, Dynasty Warriors or one of the many other Warriors spin-offs that I lost track of what they're called now, then I would definitely check them out. So yeah, I'd play the demo. I like the large battles. I didn't even mind the dated graphics. I didn't even mind how janky it was. It just, if I knew exactly like how you control your units and how you can send them there, otherwise you're just kind of like wandering around aimlessly sometimes and it's not very clear, and not being able to control the other units and send them there. Now I don't know if that's just a thing in the demo or the full version. So the demo to me is in the middle. I kind of had some enjoyment, but I definitely didn't want to buy the full version. I had my fill there. I was like, you know what? I get what this game's going for. It's not quite my cup of tea. But if you're into these large strategy games, then I'd give it a whirl and give it a try. X-Morph Defence is an interesting combination of games. It's both a twin-stick shooter and a tower defense game. Now, when I went to play this demo, I'm gonna be honest, you see the cover art on the Xbox store and you're like, man, this is gonna be one of those cheap, badly put together games that's just got like some crummy logo, but I was pleasantly surprised. Now, here's the thing. So, you're an alien who's landed on Earth and you're like defending these bases. But you make like these towers, there's like tanks come down the roads, but you can also like make barriers to like divert which way, like the traffic, you want to say the traffic of tanks is coming. So you can narrow them down, make them like long paths to go through. That's really good. It looks amazing actually. I'm really impressed like how smooth and how good the graphics look, and I was definitely engaged in the game. And also what they added as well in this demo was a boss battle as well, which I was quite impressed with. So once you've completed so many waves, this giant like mech like spider tank came along, and that was interesting to have a boss fight in this game as well. But the twin stick shooting thing definitely felt like a twin stick shooter because it sent like helicopters and planes that weren't really affected by the turrets you've put up. So there was a bit like, oh, I've got to be active twin stick shooting. Like it felt very smooth, like you would expect something like Geometry Wars. There was lots of options and settings to choose from. There's both a story mode and a co-op mode, so you can do it in 2-player co-op. There was a range of difficulty choices. The gameplay was smooth, the frame rate was good, the graphics were good, it had some good destruction effects, some other good effects and sound effects. So overall, this game sounded good, played good, and this is the first time on Demo Reel that I've actually played a demo and went, you know what? I actually want to get the full version of this, so I'm hopefully when it comes on sale at some point, not saying you wouldn't buy it full price, but at the moment, I think as soon as if I saw it on sale, I'd be tempted to buy it, and I definitely want to get it at some point anyway, so it's definitely been added to my wish list. And yeah, overall there's not much else to say about it. It just plays really well. It's this very smooth twin stick shooter feel, but with added tower defense, and I feel like that made it fresh, because I know tower defense over the years has got a little bit stale and people have kind of fallen off. I still like them, but I'm not quite as engaged as I used to be, but this definitely added a spark to it. So yeah, this demo is definitely worth checking out. Go and download the demo, play it. You're probably gonna have a blast, because I had a blast. It's a great fun game, and yeah, it's definitely up there for one I definitely want to purchase the full version of.
Despite the surprise attack, you fended off all enemies.
So there you go, that was all 3 demos, and what a good selection we had, from avoid to maybe try to, man, we really enjoyed this, we wanted to buy it. So thank you very much for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you to our patrons, and join us next time on Demo Reel. Bye.